Call the meeting of LAFCO to order. Please rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we got the mini version tonight of us. Right. So we'll start with introductions.
Bill Berryhill, public member.
Amy Bublak, city member.
Mike Van Winkle, city member.
Richard O'Brien, alternate city member.
Brad Hahn, alternate public member.
Javier Camarena, assistant executive officer.
Sarah Little Penny, executive officer.
Alice Mims, LAFCO counsel.
Jennifer Vieira, commission clerk.
All right, thank you. We will move on to public comment. I have one card here for public comment. Looks like you're wanting to speak on a permit.
It was an appeal before the Board of Zoning Adjustment. Do I have 3 minutes? Okay. Several years ago, the B printed my letter which said, who ran City Hall, staff or council? It seems the answer is staff, because I was fortunate enough to find the only decision made by an administrator or administrative agency which was not able to be appealed. My neighbor built a 2-story building, twice the size of his house. Reflections in my pool, my dining room, my bedroom. We reported the tool shed to the city. They told us the proposed project could be appealed to the Board of Zoning Adjustment for $354. We appeared before the board twice. The file 2013-002 should have 3 things: the state seal on our notice of approval, notice of appeal, a letter to the homeowners stating the appellate court clerk, and 2 docket entries, 3-2 and 4-3. After 5 years of city council meetings, I had a 2-hour meeting with the police chief. He has forwarded this to Detective Marisco, who refuses to follow up. It seems our constitutional right to appeal was not available to us on May 8th in the office of the Neighborhood Preservation Unit. A city planner sent us a letter stating the specific permit application we were appealing was irrevocable. It was an administrative permit. Now they look at me with sadness and tell me we didn't have the constitutional right to appeal in Stanislaus County. I'm relieved to know that our system works perfectly, just not here in Modesto. Mr. Berryhill, I've had dinner at your mother's house. She sprinkled something around to keep ants out, but I'm sure she doesn't want someone watching her eat dinner. I know that. Mr. O'Brien, I don't know how your stores are built, but Bill O'Brien was on the Board of Supervisors when 2 permits were issued while this building was under code enforcement. You can see it. It's about 10 houses off Brixmore on Bronson Alley. Our point was we can't have anyone have building safety is about so much more than just fire, which could happen because it's stuck up in the trees with illegal electrical. It's more about first responders, police, and fire. It's a hoarder person that lives there, so the grounds are filled with buildings. Now, the Board of Zoning Adjustment, I'm only telling you things that your clerks know. I've said that to the city from the beginning. I'm only telling you things that your clerks know. These are facts. I worked for the county at one time. I passed the Legal 4 test the first time I took it, which is a little amazing if you check with some people at the county. But I do know what I'm talking about. What you have in front of you is an email. Now, the administration administratively approved permit request drawings, because otherwise Bob Nickerson was in big trouble. Okay, so they issued 2 permits for this building. I don't know what happens to a building inspector who gets caught without having a building permit on his project. I have no idea, but I know what happened to our neighborhood, and I know what we told the Board of Zoning Adjustment. Now, the mayor knows of this situation and has, before he was mayor, he went to a committee meeting with me. And he's not going to let his friend Oscar go to jail over this. I told Adam Lindgren that several phrases are perjury, and no one denied it. The windows are not before you. We believe it's to code. Actually, what they said is it's in keeping with the code because they did take his money. And they put the word existing across our testimony. If you want to look, it's 11/12/13 is the city council meeting that they took us also in front of. That would have been a third hearing that it would have been a petition for extraordinary relief, which they didn't file to go above the BZA. That was never filed. But they did take us through a third hearing in front of the city council, which, like I said, you can see on 11/12/13. And the appeal is in the system as 2013-002. When I requested documents from Ms. King, who was assistant clerk at the time and is the county clerk now for the Board of Recorders, the district clerk is her title, she returned the public document requests to me at the advice of her boss, Mr. Bose. And so what I'm going to do, and I've been saying, exactly what I'm going to do every time I do it, but the information I have, I will forward to the federal grand jury to look into why this was not an appeal, why they did not act on the revocation hearing for the BZA. But what the clerks, I've spoken to every clerk in this area. What the civil clerk told me is that we were not actually in a position of appeal, although they took our money, because there was actually no decision for the building. And the only thing we got from them was a posting with the county clerk recorder of the hearing. Now, we paid the docket fees. I've asked several times to go back in front of the BZA, and she's refused my request, and that would have been paid for by the people, by the homeowners that built the structure, because we paid the docket fees for the hearings. Okay, so $354 in docket fees is to be returned to us, and it's been obviously quite some time.
What do you want this body to do for you?
I want, the county, no one took responsibility. If you look at the GIS system, which is the police information system, this is the problem the police chief has, is if the plan director does not take down this building as ordered by the Board of Zoning Adjustment, then it is up to the chief of police. So we had a 2-hour meeting, and Mr. Mariskow of the county is not helping the chief of police, the city and the county. We were caught between the city and the county. We were caught in the crossfire. And we didn't understand it, but we fought and we won. And we fought hard. It was a bloody battle. I lost my right to carry a gun for 3 years because my neighbor filed a restraining order. You have to charge someone with a crime to get a free restraining order. So he charged me with elder abuse, and I lost my right to bear arms for 3 years. So if this is I'm here because it was my constitutional right to appeal the decision made on 5/8. Now, when they said to consult an attorney, I did. I consulted Ralph Ogden, expert land use attorney who has passed in the last year, and he told me it was an administrative problem because this really has nothing to do with me, and it really has nothing to do with my neighbor. My neighbor should have been just an APN number when they applied, because as you can see on that document, the 2008 number I circled, now we were there because those 2008 permits were no good.
Well, this body has nothing to do with that.
Okay,
And we have-
I'm here because you are a city-county agency. You have to talk to each other, okay? So I am notifying you that the county says, city's supposed to tear it down. City says, county didn't tell me that. So I'm telling you that what I'm going to tell the grand jury is that Bill Berryhill, who was supervisor at the time, and there were the one who's still in charge. Pardon? I'm sorry, Bill. Tom Berryhill is now. It was, I'm sorry, it was O'Brien. It was Bill O'Brien. So, I'm sorry. So, I will tell them the names of the Board of Supervisors who allowed these permits to be issued while it was under county code enforcement. I'm telling you that that's who I'm going to. But I appreciate your time. And like I said, I'm not telling you anything that your clerks don't know. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anybody else have any public comments? No? Okay, well, we'll move to item 3, approval of minutes. Everybody got a chance to look at them?
Move to accept?
Okay, we have a first, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion carries. Going down to item 4, we have correspondence.
We have no specific correspondence tonight, just the informational items on the agenda.
Okay. Item 5, declaration of conflicts or disqualifications. Anybody have any conflicts they need to declare tonight?
No.
Nope. Okay. Consent items. Anybody want a consent item pulled for the discussion? Take a motion on consent items then.
Move to approve.
Second?
We have a first and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Whoa,
opposed?
hold on, sorry. O'Brien is not voting tonight.
Oh,
Well, why did he tell me I could?
We have two, Boo Black showed up, so we have two city voting members. My apologies. So if we could just redo that,
Don't even
redo the motion and second on that.
yeah. What the?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, we have a first and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? And you can't vote. Sorry.
It's okay. You join a very, very good group.
Turn my
Roadhouse from under 'em.
Oops.
All right, we're moving to public hearing items. The first one is LAFCO application 2019-02, municipal service review number 2019-01, and sphere of influence update.
Good evening, Javier Camarena with LAFCO. As Chairman Van Winkle mentioned, before us this evening we have LAFCO application number 2019-02. The project is 2019 change of organization to the Eastside Water District, and that project also includes a municipal service review and sphere of influence amendment. The project is a proposal to modify the district's sphere of influence and annex approximately 2,564 acres. The district is along the Stanislaus and Merced County line. Much of it is in the east part of the county, and as you can see on this map, a majority of the parcels are around Turlock Lake, but we have some other parcels in and around eastern Stanislaus County and Merced County. The district was formed in 1985 and provides several groundwater services, which include providing solutions to groundwater overdraft and monitoring. This project is voluntary, so all of the homeowners included in this application are okay with the project. They signed documents indicating that they're fine with annexing. That proposed annexation will allow the homeowners, or excuse me, property owners to contribute through assessments to district projects and participate in the East Turlock Subbasin Groundwater Sustainability Agency.
Javier, a quick question. If you were just outside of that area, I mean, are those boundaries set, or could a person voluntarily say, I want to be in the district too, that's just outside of it? Or is
they could, it doesn't have, they can as long as we see that there is a reason why they're going into that district.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't. It's if you're outside of the district, you probably volunteer to be in it. Yeah.
Okay.
And if the district sees that it's
As
a good decision to
area,
include them as well. In addition to the number of projects that the district is working on, the district joined the Merced and Stanislaus County. They joined Merced and Stanislaus County, the Belico Cortez Water District, and Merced Irrigation District in forming the East Turlock Subbasin Groundwater Sustainability Agency. The agency, along with West Turlock Subbasin Groundwater Sustainability Agency, began working on a groundwater sustainability plan in compliance with the Sustainable Groundwater Management Act of 2014, and that sustainability plan must be completed by January 31st of 2022. Currently, the sphere of influence runs along the existing district boundary, so a modification of that sphere of influence is required for the annexation. Also required when either prior to or in conjunction with the sphere of influence, a municipal service review should be is required to be completed as well. Both the municipal service review and sphere of influence update require specific determinations be made, and those discussion on those determinations can be found in Exhibit D of the staff report. Also, in accordance with the Cortese-Knox-Hertzberg Act, the Commission must consider several factors when evaluating a change of organization. Some of the factors evaluated include population, growth, local plans and policies, impacts to agriculture and services. The proposal is consistent with local plans and policies. It will provide better monitoring for the district's groundwater and increase the viability of parcels to remain in agriculture, and the proposal will not negatively impact the district or other agencies. Further discussion of these factors can be found on pages 3 through 6 of the staff report. Pursuant to Government Code, the Commission may waive the protest proceedings if the following apply. Number 1, that the territory is uninhabited. 2, that property owners have given their written consent to annexation. And 3, that no written opposition has been received. All of these conditions have been met, therefore the Commission may waive the protest proceedings. And with respect to CEQA, the Eastside Water District prepared an initial study and adopted a negative declaration. As a responsible agency, the Commission must consider the environmental documentation prepared by the district. So just to wrap things up, staff's recommendation can be found on page 7 of the staff report, which includes approval of the Eastside Water District change of organization as outlined in attached resolution 2019-17. Approval of the resolution would include the following: consideration of the environmental documentation prepared by the Eastside Water District, adoption of the municipal service review and sphere of influence update, and approval of the proposed annexation. This concludes my presentation, and staff is available for questions.
Any questions for staff before we open this up? I have one on the, I guess it'd be the south and the east side of the sphere of influence, that big block that looks like that's white. I guess they're choosing not to participate in that?
Correct. Any area you see that's in white, they just either, I don't know if the district's maybe working with them still, or they just don't want to be in the district. It's, like I said, it's strictly voluntary. So a lot of, with this application and an application we received in 2017, similar to this one, we had a number of parcels wanting to annex. The district had held meetings with property owners and only included those that were interested in becoming part of the district.
Any other questions?
I just have a question. How does it work when it's in two different counties with two different LAFCOs? Do they have to go to the LAFCO there also in Merced County?
Question.
Actually, the county that has the majority share of land value is considered the principal LAFCO. So for this district in particular, Stanislaus is the principal LAFCO. So it's entirely processed through us, but what we do is we refer it to Merced for comment, and then their assessor and their auditor and their surveyor comment on it for us too.
Does that apply to all districts or?
All that are overlapping, and Merced has Central California Irrigation District, that's their principal district that overlaps into our county, so it kind of works in both ways.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, I'll open this up for public hearing. I have one card. Jim Robinson wanted to speak.
Good evening. I don't have so much comment as I just had a couple of questions. If can you answer those, or?
Either we can answer them, or Mr. Kaufman from the district is here also to answer questions.
I think I've talked to him before. Yeah, well, I'm the little dot way over there in the proposed in Merced County, and so I was told it said that the east of me and also northeast of me, a couple of large properties were going to be part of that, and now I see that they're not. So is that because you just mentioned that maybe Merced, they had conversations with these people and they changed their mind?
It may be that they're coming in at a later phase. I know Eastside's been doing them in chunks. We had one a year ago or two with a certain amount of acreage, and it may have been that they started processing it with the acreage that they had. They'd have to redo another initial study and all that paperwork to get those additional acres. So it may just be that they're doing it in phases, but he can probably speak to if those landowners are still interested.
Okay, and then that's more color up there. I see the red color on our 20, and so we are part of that annexation at this point in time.
Right.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. That's all I really wanted to know. I was a little blind on that, so thank you for your time.
All right, thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak on this in public hearing? Sure. Just want to state your name for the record, please, sir.
Certainly. Name's Kevin Kaufman. I'm the water consultant for Eastside Water District. Accompanying me is Karna Herigfeld, legal counsel for Eastside Water District. And I just wanted to thank Sarah and Javier for helping us through the administration of this application. A couple of points to add to some of the questions that were answered or asked. We did do an annexation. Eastside did an annexation in 2017, and because of an error on my part, we left off like 3 parcels, and so that's why we're right back at you with another application, is because we wanted to follow through on those landowners that wanted to become part of the district. And at that time, the board said, well, let's open it up and make sure other landowners aren't interested. So that's why you see it kind of mixed around the counties. The Richards family, the big parcels around Mr. Johnson were originally going to come in, and it was going to add another 600 acres or thereabouts in Merced County. But they decided they wouldn't be irrigating in the next 10 years or so, so they just pulled out of the application. I think because of the cost of the per acre charges that were going to be charged to their property, and decided not to participate at this time. So I think I've addressed some of the questions that have come up, but primarily I just wanted to thank staff for helping us with this process. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have as a board.
Any questions?
Yeah, Mike, one. So same question I asked Javier, as far as what's the process if I know somebody who's got a property then, and this may encompass it, but it's close if it doesn't. And so I'm just wondering what the process, if he isn't in it and wanted to join it, what would that process entail?
Just simply coming to the East Side Water District Board and asking them, and then if it were a large enough parcel and there were maybe some neighbors interested, we'd put your staff through this process again.
Okay.
But this was hopefully going to be the last
Well, with
annexation
SIGMA and
for a
everything,
while.
I mean, this is important stuff on the
Right.
groundwater, so.
Sure.
And I know they're short on groundwater in this particular area, but and like I say, he may be in it, but I'll let him know.
All righty. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you. Anybody else want to speak on public comment before we close this? Okay, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back. Any questions, comments?
Pretty
Motion?
simple. I'll move to approve the proposal as submitted by the applicant.
I will second that.
Okay, we have a first and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Motion carries. Okay, moving to item B, LAFCO application number 2019-10, City of Modesto Fire Service contract with the City of Oakdale and Oakdale Rural Fire Protection District.
So this is the first application of this type that the commission has reviewed, and maybe one of the first in the state. Normally, contracts for fire service are exempt from LAFCO. So as of a couple years ago, Government Code 56134 was amended and requires LAFCO now to review fire contracts that affect either employment status for 25% or more of employees affected, or responsibility for 25% or more of the agency's service area. So it's very similar to what the commission normally deals with out-of-boundary applications. But in this case, we're dealing with fire service instead of sewer and water, what we normally see. So this is the affected area. It's basically the entirety of the northeastern portion of the county, the area under jurisdiction of Oakdale Rural Fire Protection District and City of Oakdale, which includes Valley Home and Knights Ferry area as well, is now served by City of Modesto under this new contract. And this just gives you an idea of the surrounding fire agencies. For background, Oakdale Rural and the City of Oakdale were previously contracted with Stanislaus Consolidated Fire. That contract had ended as of July 1st, 2019. Those entities had been negotiating for at least 6 months prior to that and were not able to come to an agreement for a continued contract. The City of Modesto presented a proposal that was favorable to Oakdale Rural Fire Protection District and the City of Oakdale, and that's what we're reviewing tonight. So the requirements for these applications, similar to an out-of-boundary, but maybe a little more detailed. The applicant, in this case City of Modesto, supplied us with a resolution of application, and it also included a plan for services discussing the fire services that would be provided to the area, the estimated costs, the plan for financing those, and then a full fiscal analysis talking about cost comparisons and alternatives that were looked at. In this case, the Oakdale Rural Fire Protection District and City of Oakdale reviewed a number of alternatives, including having their own independent fire agencies, going back to that, staying with Stanislaus Consolidated, or going with the City of Modesto. They found that the City of Modesto's agreement provided them with more certainty with regards to the cost. They were able to actually add employees, and it met the needs of both the City of Oakdale and the district. So the Commission is required to make 4 determinations that you see listed here. The Commission will need to find that the proposal is consistent with the overall intent of LAFCO and its policies. The Commission has reviewed the fiscal analysis, and that the Commission has considered any testimony that you may be hearing tonight, and that the affected territory is expected to receive sufficient revenues for services. And staff believes that all of these determinations can be made, including the sufficient revenues. The city has provided documentation that the City of Oakdale and Oakdale Rural both have current revenue streams for fire service. So staff's recommendation is to approve the proposal as submitted, and we've prepared Resolution 2019-20 that makes those required determinations and also finds that this proposal is exempt from CEQA. There is no environmental impact for the service change. And with that, I'm available for any questions.
Questions? Did Oakdale Rural annex that into their district? That's why they have the revenue?
Yes. So that entire north triangle now is in Oakdale Rural. So this, I'll go back to that one and make it more clear. So this contract would apply to that whole entire area.
So does that mean they're going to keep, maybe this is a question for Oakdale or whatever, so does that mean they're going to keep both stations open, or are they going to continue to flip-flop service?
I might let them answer that. I think the goal is to get them both at some point, but they can probably talk about the current level of service.
Hi, Brian. Sorry to drag you up here, but it's just...
Sarah,
you want to open it up for public comment?
Yeah,
okay, might as well.
Yeah.
I
And then
still have a question.
We'll go back to...
Okay, I'll open this up for public comment.
Brian is.
Brian,
That's you.
Want to just state your name for the record, Brian.
That guy might want to say something.
Oh, no, he doesn't.
He's just
Brian.
cheering you on. Don't pay attention. He's just here to cheer you on.
Okay, great. Well, members of the commission, Brian Whitemeyer, City Manager for the City of Oakdale, and currently the staffing, and previously the staffing at the fire stations for Oakdale Fire Protection District has been staffed on alternative shifts, with Knights Ferry being staffed for one shift and then Valley Home for another. That has continued. I know they have the goal to try to expand it to have them both staffed at the same time. So they're working on, I think, other measures to try to increase revenues to make that a possibility. I think they actually voted in our, either in the process or have put a measure in place that will go before the voters either in March or June of next year. So to date, they're just continuing with that alternating staffing model, but with the goal of increasing staffing so that they can keep both open at the same time.
All right, thanks. Any questions for Brian, real quick?
Actually, Brian,
sure.
I'm just curious. So you guys already have an existing contract and they're working for you. Hypothetically, we vote no, what happens?
That's something we talked about, and I don't know where that goes. It's
Right.
one of those things that we appreciate. LAFCO, when we were going through this, we met with Sarah and talked about our options, and there was no way for us to get through this whole process prior to the contract terminating. So we thought the importance of providing fire service superseded.
Sure. I'm just curious. I mean, so it's a formality then, Sarah?
It is. If you were to deny it, you would need to state why. So there would also be, potential for them to come back and correct whatever the commission was not happy with.
Just curious.
So,
yeah.
Brian, you have a 12-month, to be released from the contract. Does that take LAFCO decision to, if they decide to eliminate their contract?
So if they were to eliminate the contract and just go back to being Oakdale
Either
Rural
Modesto
Fire,
or, right.
and that does not require LAFCO action. If they were to eliminate it and at the same time enter into another new contract with someone else, that would.
Okay. So there's no detachment.
Right.
I'm just curious, Oakdale Fire Department continues as is, or is that part of this whole
So that's one of the things that we looked at. I mean, going back to being with Consolidated, when Oakdale began its contract with Stanislaus Consolidated Fire Protection District, the Oakdale Fire Department, we didn't have any staff members, so it in essence ceased to exist. And so the staff that was staffing those fire stations in Oakdale were Consolidated employees. And so when the contract changed to be with Modesto, they hired 25 Consolidated firefighters and essentially continued to staff our fire stations, Oakdale Rural and the City of Oakdale. And they're now all Modesto Fire Department employees serving the citizens of Oakdale and Oakdale Fire Protection District.
You guys are okay with this whole, obviously, with this
arrangement? We're very pleased.
This was very curious because my son-in-law got in a wreck a couple weekends ago, and all the fire guys had Modesto Fire Department on it. We were almost to Sonora, and I thought, what in the world's going on? But this explains it.
Yeah.
So they're basically contracting to provide the personnel to run the fire system and to I mean, there's two different levels of service too, I would imagine, in town versus the rural,
Yeah.
right?
And basically, this makes it pretty seamless because they're essentially one department, and the drop boundary agreements continue to be in play, so there's shared resources, and it's been quite seamless. In community meetings out in Knights Ferry and Valley Home, they've been very pleased, not just with the service they're getting from the folks in the stations, but also from the administration. Just because of the size of the organization of the city of Modesto, they have a greater ability to provide administrative support and customer service than we would have been able to just on our own, where we would only have a chief, a deputy chief, and maybe a battalion chief and a clerical person in the office, where being part of a more robust management, they're able to help us with a variety of things such as just state mandated inspections, making sure that we're just on top of things, training. So we're benefiting from the benefit of having their training officers train and continue to train the people there. So we found it was more cost effective. We were able to add additional staff for much less than we would have if we were going to be on our own. And so, so far we're very pleased with the service, and we're pleased with the direction we're going.
So I know that in years past, there have been at least twice that I can recall where there was conflict on who's serving the wrecks along the road, because that was a high call for service on the wrecks, and they weren't getting reimbursed, and everybody was going back and forth a lot. So this solves that problem too.
Yeah, essentially, yes.
I have one quick question.
Sure.
Does Modesto assume the unfunded liabilities?
Of which employees?
Your firemen.
So they're the city of Modesto's firefighters. So that's something that is the responsibility of the Modesto Fire Department and the city of Modesto to make sure that they charge us the appropriate amount.
Oh, they're going to charge you. Okay.
Right. Right. So that's part of the contract. When we put that together, I think that's something that that conversation comes up with relation to the other contract, and we as customers, Oakdale, we simply paid what they told us to pay. And so if they did not put in the contract the unfunded liabilities, I don't know, because we don't go into their books. We just said, how much would it cost? And they told us how much it would cost. And so when we had that question with Modesto, they said, this is how much it's going to cost. And so they understand that whatever growing liability they have should be funded through that agreement.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, thanks, Brian.
All right.
Make a motion to approve the resolution?
I'm sorry,
Was there-
Chief, did you want to talk? No. Okay. Let me close public hearing then. We'll close public hearing, and then we can take a motion now.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve the resolution.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and second. All in favor? Aye. Sorry. Motion carries.
For the county.
Motion carries. Okay. Down to commissioner comments. Any commissioners have any comments? I'd just like to wish everybody Merry Christmas. Probably won't see you. Some I will, but some I won't. Those I don't. Merry Christmas to everyone. I hope you have a safe holidays. Executive office report?
Yeah, just a couple of things that are coming up soon. Staff will be hosting a protest hearing for the Northwest Newman project, and that is set for December 19th. We'll report back to the Commission in January on the results of that protest hearing. And then for the January meeting, we have a number of business items, including election of officers, mid-year budget, and likely our annual annexation summary and sphere report. And that's all.
All right. With that, we will adjourn.